So it took 10 months from January of '07 to even report the initial encounter to anyone because he was so worried about losing his kids, losing his wife, his whole family falling apart. He didn't know what to do, but it was swelling up inside of him. He had to tell somebody. And we were watching TV one night, and there was this cheesy, like mid 2000s paranormal type show. Like, you remember Ghost Hunters and all those things?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had UFO files, and we would begin to watch it like every night. Me and my siblings, Jeremy and Emily, and my dad, we would watch it like night after night. We thought we were learning about what happened to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was this blurb at the end of an episode: if you've had a sighting, go to MUFON.com. So Dad goes to MUFON.com. And in October of '07, he finally types up his report. I think it even took him weeks or months after that to even hit send, if I'm not mistaken. But he sends it, and then the rest is history. They soon after that came to our property and literally made a Discovery Channel documentary about us with all these big promises that they were going to, present us as telling the truth and that they were here to help us and to vindicate us. And then they basically smeared us. Spoiler alert, I later was told by the director of the spy program for the Central Intelligence Agency that it was a literal CIA operation to smear our family. We can get into that if you'd like, but it did not make it easy on us. Did not make it easy on us. And soon after that, sometime in, I think, if I'm remembering correctly here, I think it was summer of 2009. I was a 15-year-old kid at the time, so it's hard to remember exactly what month this happened. But soon after the documentary, NASA came knocking on our door. And they have been investigating us ever since. Now we've been investigated by CIA, NASA, Army intelligence, people in Air Force intelligence, Naval intelligence, Homeland Security, DARPA, DIA, NSA, and it goes on and on. British intelligence, Canadian Royal Intelligence, Mossad.
How are like foreign intelligence agencies? I mean, I just have, please walk me through this in general, but how would like a foreign agency like have any grounds to come? Not, or do they not come physically, or how does that work?
It's a mix of both. Like, people from Canadian intelligence have been to our house. The people in like British intelligence, Mossad, Australian intelligence, and did I miss one? I'm not sure. But these foreign agencies, they correspond with us, communicate with us, ask us questions. I don't think, to my knowledge, I mean, I wouldn't know unless they told me, right, that some of these foreign assets have like come and seen us in person, but they ask us questions, keep tabs on us, make us aware that they're, paying attention. But then as far as like CIA, DIA, all these American intelligence agencies, they've been to the house. Some of them have door knocked and just showed up. Some of them have called and been like, "Can we come?" But we've literally like touched hands with all of the major intelligence agencies.
That's crazy.
And
so how many times have people just like been to your house that are like presenting them? I mean, I'm assuming that when I say presenting themselves, I don't mean like they're not. I just mean like they just show up and they're like, "Hey, I'm from whatever agency." Like how does this go?
Realistically, as far as intelligence agency people coming to our house, I would say it's a few dozen.
Wow.
But I haven't lived there in a long time. I haven't even lived at home in 7 years. And I know Dad will just text me and be like, "Hey, someone from Congress is here. Someone from NASA's here." I mean, I don't know. Maybe that number has grown from a few dozen, but like when I was growing up there until I was about 23, it was a few dozen. This guy, Hal Pobenmeyer, he would come stay at our house sometimes for a week at a time, 3 or 4 times a year. And that went on for 11 years. And that's just one guy, not to mention all the other times other individuals would come.
So is it pretty friendly, or is it like you sort of have to tell us this stuff, or what is the general vibe?
Both. It's both. Some people have been super friendly and, we're just here to help. We think your story is important. You need you to get out and tell it because we're never going to tell it. That was told to us by Jim Semivan, the director of the spy program. like basically like your story is so important. You got to write your book. You got to keep going forward. We are never going to tell the truth, Chris, because we're in too deep with lies and secrecy. And people would revolt if they knew how much we really were, covering this up and how many people have died over this subject. So someone's got to do it. That's one example of how they communicate to us. Another example is from people in the DIA. If you go tell your story a way that we don't like, we could put a bullet in your wife and son's brain, or we could run you off the road with a Mack truck and make you disappear and no one will even know where you went. So it's been a mixed bag. People threatening to kill us, people encouraging us. It's, I don't know. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I'm assuming you generally follow the sort of popular discourse in terms of what's going on with disclosure or not, but it seems like one of the most recent things that's been discussed in podcasts, in interviews, is all of Lou Elizondo's claims that it's like, look, there are people within the Pentagon who want disclosure, and there are people within the Pentagon who don't want disclosure. So it's like there are these sort of competing factions within these organizations. Is that how you deduce what's going on too, or what are your thoughts on it?
That is true. In my experience, in my literal lived experience, meeting people in these intelligence agencies, that is absolutely true. What we have been made aware of by people in intelligence agencies is that there are some people who worship Satan and they want to subjugate us all. And they really are into occult practices. All that stuff you hear theories about, it is true that there are maniacs in power who want to subjugate us and even kill us. And then there are other people who want to use their positions of power to get the truth out, and they think people deserve it. And I always like, as a pop culture reference for like my listeners, typically I liken it to Stranger Things season 4. Have you ever seen Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You remember did you see season 4?
Yeah, I've seen all the way up until whatever's out. Yeah.
Do you remember when 11 lost her powers and like the whole season? Yeah. And she kind of like is out of her mojo. So then there's this one agency that's like trying to kidnap her and kill her. Mm-hmm, but then the other government kind of organization is like, no, we got to help her get her powers back. And there's like this little secret war and, these government guys are shooting it's like that. They're not showing up on our property with guns. I don't think that they're legally allowed to do that. I think the movies fluff that up and it's really a different story in real life. But it is like that. It is absolutely like that there are factions within the intelligence communities that it's like a snake with many heads, and not every head agrees. But at the end of the day, it does all go back to the same snake, right? So,
what do you